Reading, then we'll go through the questions quickly. Buffaloes of the Great Plains. The great herds of buffalo that roamed the plains were essential for all parts of the Sioux life and society. Who has an idea what that word essential means? What was that, Andrew?
Around.
Around? Okay, so that buffalo was around, that would fit that, but what else would do you think essential? And take a look at that sentence, it was essential for all parts of the Sioux life and society. Madison. They had to have it. Good word. Big words, we can simplify those words so we can gain an understanding of what they're trying to say. So it was a big part of that society, okay? Here's why. For most Sioux villages, home was wherever the herds of the buffalo roamed. So what they're saying there is that wherever the buffalo went, they had to pick up, pack the teepee, and follow those buffalo, okay? Before the introduction of the horse, Sioux warriors would hunt the buffalo by dressing up as wolves, as tricking them into running off of cliffs and ledges. They would also dress up in buffalo skins and make crying sounds like a baby buffalo. When an adult buffalo went to investigate, the warriors would kill it with spears and arrows. The Sioux Indians used the entire buffalo following a kill. The buffalo hide was used for making teepees, clothes, moccasins, and robes. The hair was used to make rope, and the horns were used as cups and dishes. Children fashioned sleds out of buffalo ribs. So when they say fashioned, what other word could they use in there for fashioned?
Pretty.
Created. What was that? Designed. Okay?
Model.
When you get up in the morning, what do you do with your breakfast?
Make it.
You have to make it. There's another word. So a lot of different words. All they're simply saying is that's what they would do. They would make these stuff out of those items. And the buffalo fat was used as glue. Most importantly, buffalo meat provided food for the entire village. Much of the buffalo meat that was collected was cooked, dried, and pounded into pemmican. Now, pemmican, according to this reading, is a sort of like modern-day beef jerky. Who is eating beef jerky? Okay, so with that being said, I think we associate the most with beef jerky. What do they make beef jerky out of today?
Beef.
What is that?
Beef.
Beef. Okay?
It makes sense because in the name.
Your beef. There you go. Well done, Tom. Great observation. Now, there's a leaner type of meat, though, that they make jerky out of. Mr. Brock does this all the time. What is it? Venison. Okay? They say that's probably one of the most purest and the most leanest type of jerky that there is. Okay? So let's go ahead and answer the comprehension questions that comes along with this reading. Number one, what did they say buffalo hair was used to make? What was it?
Rope.
Rope. Good. Okay, number two, the ribs, what were they used to make?
Sleds.
Sleds. Just get a raise of hands. Thanks, Tom, but let's raise our hands. And Lizzie already answered that. It's sleds. Now, we talked about that. Who fashioned those sleds? The children. Good, Jesse. Okay. Number three, which of the following statements is true? Tom has got his hand up.
Fried was not for three. This was not.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed three. Okay, buffalo meat was not, what was it? Fried, cooked, pounded, or dried?
Fried.
What was, pardon me?
Fried.
Fried, was it cooked?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said it was cooked. Was it pounded?
Yeah.
We kind of think that didn't say that in the reading. It did, okay? So what, so Tommy said it wasn't fried, correct?
No, it was fried.
It was fried. Okay, so what was, buffalo meat was not.
That's what I meant. It was not used for. It was fried.
Oh, okay, so fried. Okay,
Yeah.
number four, which of the following statements is true? The Sioux Indians were somewhat dependent on the buffalo. The Sioux Indians were totally dependent on the buffalo. The Sioux Indians were not dependent on the buffalo. The Sioux Indians were fairly dependent on the buffalo. So which statement is true? Tom, did you have your hand up?
Well, I said B.
B, the Sioux Indians were totally dependent on the buffalo. What did the reading say?
They weren't out of.
Pardon me?
I don't know.
It talked about the Sioux Indians always hunting buffalo and what they do to hunt buffalo. So the 10% they use have to be doing it for a long period of time.
Right.
In order for them to know how to do it correctly, they would have to be dependent on the buffalo to know.
Correct. So which one of these was it? Montana, what did you say?
I said D.
D.
Because like they hunt them, but they barely like go off and they just follow them. They don't really do anything. They just kill them and eat them.
Right. So Montana, that's a great observation, and your answer is correct. It is D. It said they were fairly dependent on the buffalo. So do you think they probably killed so many buffaloes in a hunt, correct?
Yeah.
Okay? And they used everything for it, but do you think they went back out and hunted? How many, it just depended on how many buffaloes that they may have killed, or slaughtered, okay? And then they were probably set for a bit, and then they had pretty good tracking skills, the Sioux. Then they probably knew the pattern and the lifestyle of the buffalo. They would follow that buffalo, and then probably when they needed meat and or more materials, that's when they would hunt again. Draven, you had your hand up.
Well, if you're not totally depending on the buffalo, why would you follow them? And they use everything. They use it to make their teepees, clothes, shoes, food, sleds, everything.
That, you know what, that's a good observation, but they used pretty much everything, but a lot of that stuff, do you think that they probably planted their own vegetation? I bet you there was vegetables and that sort of stuff back then.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course there was.
Yeah, yes, so they had the
But
soil.
they're dependent on the buffalo.
They were fairly dependent,
More than
but not
like
totally.
you
If
said,
they were totally
clothes.
dependent, that means they would follow and probably kill every day. And that part we
They
don't
do
know.
follow.
So, to be safe in regards to the answer, you could say they were fairly dependent upon the buffalo, okay? Number 5, what likely changed after the Sioux became familiar with the horse? Was it A, hunting techniques, buffalo as the main source of food for the Sioux? How buffalo meat was cooked and prepared, the way in which the buffalo was used for clothing. So what do you think changed?
Hey.
Yes, it is A, hunting techniques, okay? So prior to that, prior to the horse, how do you think they hunted?
Probably chase them down and threw the spears.
So you're saying they hunted by foot?
No,
They
like-
used their skin to make like baby sack and stuff like, and wolf stuff.
Okay, but according to the question, we're saying A, hunting techniques changed. So prior to the horse, how do you think they got around to hunt? You think they used the Lamborghini?
No, they.
Yeah.
Hummer?
No, they had to run and.
Bingo.
drag them like that.
Good, so they did it by feet. What's that?
Horse
I
size.
thought they would drive
Yes.
the
No,
horse
they didn't
bareback.
have that back.
Bareback.
Really did.
But they used the horse, whether they were pulling a carriage or whether they were on bareback. The horse probably made everything much more efficient. Okay? 6, buffalo hides were not used for what? Teepees? The hides now. What were they not used for?
I know.
Teepees, cups, robes, or moccasins? Andrew?
Cups.
They were used for cups, they had
Well, they weren't.
No,
Yes,
the hide-
right. What
What's the
were they
horn?
not used for?
The horns were used for cups. The
Okay,
hides
good.
were not used.
Good. Draven, concrete detail, he pulled that from the reading. So what didn't, okay, here's an easy way to look at that. What was not mentioned in the story?
Ropes.
And you know what? You
No,
can take,
Robes are used.
what was it? Robes were mentioned.
I just know more.
Okay. What was it?
Read.
So what's the only thing that wasn't mentioned?
They were all mentioned.
Was moccasins mentioned?
No.
Yes.
I think.
No, I don't think moccasins were
That
mentioned.
was.
How would you find out?
That was,
Go back and go.
Right there.
Moccasins?
Yeah.
yeah.
Down towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay then.
So we found a typo in this, so they were all used, and I think what they probably meant to put is which ones were used, and that they should have had all of the above. Okay, number 7, a Sioux hunter dressing up as a wolf in an attempt to scare a buffalo is an example of what? Selfishness, selflessness, imitation, or worship.
They worship.
Now, trains of thoughts. Now, Terhouse, what did you say? Imitation. What? And I understand why she would say imitation. So why would you pick the one that word imitation? Or the if they're trying to bring the buffalo in, okay? Who would they imitate? A wolf? Because buffalo, we know, we're probably afraid of wolf. I'm afraid of wolf, and I'm running. So if the buffalo are anything like me, they're gonna run. Okay? So what would they really be imitating? A buffalo. Okay? So if you're going to probably normally come to like things. So if I was correct in this, I would say, I would give you credit for that because, yeah, I understand the train of thought. Tierhouse doesn't think the way that I think. We think differently. Okay, but the beautiful thing about it is we have good critical thinking and think it happen. Draven.
Well, if you go back to 6, it says what the buffalo hides were not used for.
There's
Uh-huh.
cups.
Used for cups.
So we found the typo.
No, there's no type.
No. There's like an answer sheet that goes with it, and I always correlate it. That's why I say if you have one answer that yet there's another answer, we give you credit for it. So it should be B.
Yes.
B,
Robes
cups.
are
I said,
Okay, I didn't hear you, my bad. Okay, let's move on, so we can get into the rest of the lesson. That's 7. So, Tirha said imitation, I would agree with that. What else?
I would pet it
Oh, worship. Okay? Why worship?
because it could be your friend.
Montana, go ahead.
Well, yeah, they train them, but they worship the buffalo pretty much. They use their skin.
But talking about the wolf.
And they,
They
and
were
then
talking-
Tom, raise your hand. It's, you know what, Tom? That, you know what, that's her opinion.
Okay.
And we're gonna respect your opinion also, okay? So, Montana, so go on. Okay, so you said you worship. And so you said that they used every part of the buffalo,
yeah.
okay? Now, and sometimes when we see movies in regards to the Sioux Indian, the buffaloes, do you guys see them misusing it? They what? And what are they dancing in? Montana, great job. What are they dancing in?
Dancing buffalo.
Yes. Sometimes why do you think they might dance?
Because they worship them.
They worship them.
They are glad, they're glad they're on the earth and like they're glad they're getting all this food and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, Montana, you couldn't have said it any better. So she's exactly right. Now, if you said it showed imitation, I will give you credit because that they did. It stated that they imitate them to bring them in so that they could kill and get what they needed. Liz, you have your hand up? Okay, if you remember, come back. Tom.
Well, I kind of heard of, never mind, I don't want to contradict what she's saying.
No, you're not contradicting. You know what? I respect your opinion.
My opinion is actually because they did not mention what they do, like they dance at Buffalo Heights and all that. They didn't mention that into the story.
You're right.
As well, that also means that worship would not be into question because they're not mentioned